One of the things that has kept us blind and deaf to what God's been revealing for 500 years through all forms of evidence is what I call the triple idolatries. Now, what I mean by idolatry isn't bowing down to a statue. And idolatry is when you make as your ultimate commitment or your primary concern something that doesn't deserve to be or that betrays or defiles the future. And the triple idolatries are idolatry of the written word, idolatry of the otherworldly, and idolatry of beliefs. Now, before you go running out of here, let me just what I mean and what I don't mean. Idolatry of the written word is when you think that God's best guidance, that is our best understanding of what's real and what's important, is frozen in any ancient text. And I mean, for example, it's kind of like a GPS system. You know a GPS system in a car? Imagine that you're trying to go from St. Louis, Missouri to Portland, Oregon, and you haven't updated your GPS since 1840. You've got a map of the Oregon Trail. Now, how successful do you think you're going to be trying to get to Portland? You're not going to get there. You're going to drive in a river somewhere, right? Well, there are tens of millions of Americans who believe that these are the end times. Their map of reality is outdated, and so their understanding of what's important is skewed. It's not a surprise that America isn't leading the world with regards to our response to climate change. Because 41% of Americans at the last poll said that these are the end times anyway, so why bother? There's no sense of commitment. So that's what I call idolatry of the written word. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't value Scripture. I'm saying that we should also lift up evidence and don't make an idol of the written text. Because one of the problems is, we don't know how to read mythic literature. Mythic means personal relationship. We don't know how to read mythic literature. For example, you open up the book of Amos, or any of the Old Testament prophets, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord," and you've got 2 paragraphs. And it sounds like, if you just take it literally, like somebody was there with a tape recorder, catching a voice booming from the sky. But it wasn't that. If you could go back with a TV crew and record the moment of divine revelation, you'd see some old guy either writing himself or dictating to a scribe how he saw what reality was doing, what he sensed what reality was doing, and then speaking a word of warning to the people that went basically, folks, we need to get right with God or we're going to perish. We need to get right with reality. We have been unjust. All the things that the prophets criticize is the things that they've been out of right relationship to reality. But we're not going to be aware of the prophets alive today if we think that that's what the prophets are. In fact, we're going to be moaned, boy, wouldn't it be great if we had prophets today? Isn't it a bummer that they're not here? And we're going to be clueless to the fact that James Hansen is a modern-day prophet. Bill McKibben is a modern-day prophet. These are people who are speaking on behalf of reality and doing so with unflinching authority. So that's idolatry of the written word. Idolatry of the otherworldly is where you think God resides, like where the ultimate holy, ultimate value, ultimate meaning resides is outside time and nature. So nature is just it. We can do whatever we want to it. A God who transcends and includes nature is greater than a God who merely transcends nature. A God who transcends and includes time, that is revealed in time, is greater than a God who merely transcends time. So when you realize that God is reality personified, that is a personal, sacred face to reality, and if you're a secular person, you don't have to use the word God, but it's certainly legitimate to do so, then any God that's not at least a synonym for reality is trivial and should be rejected. So that's idolatry of the written word, idolatry of the otherworldly, and idolatry of beliefs is, I think, what you were touching on, which is if you think any one belief system is the only one right way to right relationship to reality, that's what I call idolatry of beliefs. And it's not a surprise, because most of us grew up in churches where that's what we were taught by really good, loving people that we trusted. And and so if you have been hurt all your life, that if you have the wrong beliefs, you are going to fry, well then by God, you're going to be pretty freaked out and pretty cautious about, the other people that don't have the right beliefs. And so there are countless of us that are good Christians that are terrified that their kids or grandkids are going to burn forever in hell because they don't have their beliefs. It's unnecessary suffering.